Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So Kaldheim spoiler season continues onward and upward, and so does the number of cups of coffee that I am drinking today. Because this is the third episode today. If you haven't already seen the other ones, one is on a new tribal staple with reflections of Lit Jara, and the other one is on an absolutely broken mythic Goldspan dragon. So go ahead and check those episodes out, but of course not before you watch this episode first. And like those other episodes, I just want to give a quick spoiler warning. Obviously, all these episodes are spoilers, so if you don't want to see the spoilers, don't watch any of these episodes, okay? But if you're here for the spoiler, then we've got yet another modal dual-face commander that's an MDFC with Kolvori, / the Ringhart Crest. That's right, on the front side we've got a legendary god, and on the back side we've got a legendary artifact. Let's go through these quick, and then I'll jump into each side and how I'd build around a deck around Kolvori. So, Kolvori, God of Kinship, is a 2/4 god that costs 2 green. She has, as long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, Kolvori gets +4/+2 and has Vigilance. And by paying 1 green and tapping her, you look at the top 6 cards of your library, you may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand, and then put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. The backside is that legendary artifact, the Ringhart Crest, which costs 1 and a green. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and you can tap it for a green, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or a legendary creature spell. So on one side, we've got a god that can get bigger if you've got more legendaries in play. In fact, it can be a 6/6 Vigilant commander for 4 mana. And on top of that, it can help us get legendary creatures off the top of our library and into our hand. And on the backside, we've got a Mana Rock. A very specific Mana Rock, but a Mana Rock still. That's right, we finally have a Commander Rock. Alright, that was terrible. I'm leaving it in though, okay? Regardless, this is a really interesting commander, so let's jump into more detail on each side. Now, in some of the other episodes on MDFCs, I've switched this up, but for this one, let's start off with the front. And again, that would be the Kolvori, God of Kinship side. Now, obviously, you can cast either side that you want, depending on the situation that you're in. What I really want to think through, though, is what is the most likely play pattern of this deck? Regardless, the most obvious direction to take this commander is a legendary tribal deck. So again, the Kolvori side just starts off as a 2/4 for 4, but essentially it can be a 6/6 with Vigilance if you've got some other legendaries out there. And again, Kolvori's activated ability can help you get other legendaries off the top as well, and that's an ability that's somewhat reminiscent of something like Hero's Podium. Hero's Podium is a legendary artifact for 5, and it says each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other legendary creature you control. By paying X, you can tap to look at the top X cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand, put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. So Hero's Podium definitely has a spot in this deck, pumping all of your legendary creatures, and also it can help you get legendaries off the top like your commander. And even just in mono green, you've got nearly 100 legendaries to pick from. Now, if you were going to try to focus on this side of the commander, you probably want some legendary creatures that come out early. Unfortunately, there aren't a ton that are low to the ground, but you do have some options like Hope of Girapur, Ovaya Pashiri, and Sir Farron. So if you get these out early, then your commander can come out as a 6/6 with Vigilance, and fun times are had. And remember, obviously with that Vigilance, you can still attack and then use the activated ability as well. So Kolvori can help you dish out some damage on top of getting you some card advantage as well. Now, while I do think that's a fun scenario when it happens, I think the back is going to be the side that sees more play. Having mana ramp in your command zone is a big deal. Because of the Ringhart Crest side, with this commander, you are guaranteed turn 2 ramp. Now keep in mind that it is conditional ramp, only helping you cast creature spells that are either of a certain type or legendary. But still, with this kind of Legendary Matters deck, you're going to be able to use that mana. So personally, I think this is the direction that I would go, focusing on playing this commander on turn 2 as a Mana Rock. Now obviously, if you've got a lot of other early ramp in your hand, you might just hold off and cast that other side later. But one fantastic thing this commander is going to do is going to make you mulligan less. A lot more of your hands are going to be keepable because you've got that Mana Rock option. Again, knowing that you have a guaranteed Mana Rock on turn 2 is a fantastic thing. And because of that, you can consistently get out powerful legendary creatures that cost 4 mana on turn 3. That might be Yeva, which has you may cast green creature spells as though they had flash. Or Goreclaw, who makes your creature spells with power 4 or greater cost 2 less to cast, and whenever Goreclaw attacks, each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Or Pelucranos, because Pelucranos. Of course, you're going to have plenty of legendary creatures in this deck, and perhaps the best one of all these is going to be Reki, the History of Kamigawa. He has whenever you play a legendary spell, draw a card. So yeah, that's a pretty fantastic effect for a legendary deck. Luckily, this card was reprinted recently, so its price has gone down, but keep in mind that a lot of legendaries out there might not be so budget. But there are definitely a good amount of budget legendary options out there. And of course, you can include some other legendary matters cards in this deck as well, like Time of Need, Kamal's Druidic Vow, and Okina Temple to the Grandfathers. Time of Need is a sorcery that costs 1 and a green and says, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So yeah, a 2-mana 2 that gets you whatever legendary creature you want, usually Reki, is going to be a great thing. And then Kamal's Druidic Vow is a legendary source that costs X green, and it says look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of land and or legendary permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less among them onto the battlefield, put the rest into your graveyard. So yeah, a Genesis Wave specifically for legendaries is going to be great in this type of deck. And then Okina is a legendary land that taps for a green, and you can pay a green to tap it, and target legendary creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So if you've got an extra $5 lying around, Okina is a good addition to a legendary deck. Now, although we haven't seen a commander quite like this one, we do have some similar commanders that we can compare this to. Again, I do want to stress similar because these MDFC commanders are a new thing and they are quite unique. But obviously, the first commander that comes to mind for a mono-green legendary deck is none other than Reki, the History of Kamigawa. And yeah, we already talked about Reki and how Reki can just draw you an absurd amount of cards in a legendary deck. So similarly, Okina can provide card advantage, but in a different way. But again, both are going to be great in the 99 of each other's decks. But when it comes to which of these is going to be more popular in the long run as the mono-green legendary tribal commander, only time will tell. The other commander that Kolvori, God of Kinship, reminds me of, or should I say the Ringhart Crest side reminds me of, is Arixmethes Slumbering Isle. Arixmethes is a 12/12 Kraken that enters the battlefield tapped with 5 slumber counters on it, and it costs 2 green/blue. As long as Arixmethes has a slumber counter on it, it's a land, not a creature, and whenever you cast a spell, you may remove a slumber counter from Arixmethes, and it can tap for green/blue. So this commander is essentially a land in your command zone, much like this new commander is a mana rock in your command zone. And actually, I recently did an episode where I talked about how Arixmethes is an underrated ramp card in the 99. A 4-mana land ramp spell that taps for 2 that can become a 12/12, yeah, that's a pretty big thing. Now, there are some differences, obviously, but both are guaranteed ramp in your command zone. The first difference is that a land is generally safer than a mana rock, but that's safer than a mana dork, so it's pretty good still. Another difference is that you don't have the option to have Arixmethes come out as a creature to start. It starts off as a land, and then you have to work to remove those slumber counters. And you can choose whether or not to remove that last counter when you need to. Conversely, you can choose to cast Kolvori as either a creature or a mana rock. So you have the flexibility and the option there, but that flexibility does come with a price. And that price, which I probably should have mentioned before, is that if you cast it as a mana rock, it's just stuck there as a mana rock unless you can bounce it back to your hand, or it's blown up, or whatnot. So at some point, if you want the other side, you're not necessarily going to get the other side. And that's true conversely if it starts off as a creature and you actually want it as a mana rock later. Though that's probably less likely. And the last difference is that again, this mana rock can only tap to add mana for specific spells. So it is circumstantial ramp, but still ramp nonetheless. But overall, taking all these things into account, what is my gut feeling on this card? Reki actually has a decent amount of decks, and I think this one will as well. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to overtake Reki, but it very well might. It's really interesting to see a mana rock in the command zone, again, even if that is circumstantial ramp. Regardless, I know one thing for sure. Reki is going to be in the 99 of Kolvori decks, and Kolvori will be in the 99 of Reki decks. And with that, the show has come to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you, so make sure you comment below and let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.